and welcome to part 8 of the order block strategy. Now, this is when the fun begins because we're going to talk about entries. So entries, there's two types of entries. We've got risk entries and we've got confirmation entries, right? They're going to be split into two different videos. So part 8 and part 9. One is going to be risk entries and one is going to be confirmation entries. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to actually use the OB for entries. So we already identified how to find the OBs, right? So how do you actually enter? So say that we've got the OB. Why is it like that? Okay, say we've got the OB sitting here. Okay, let me draw the wicks. And there. Okay, so in order to actually enter from an OB, you have 2 points. Okay, first point is you can use the open, which is from here, as your entry. So this is entry 1. Sorry, there you go. So entry 1. Alternatively, what you can do is you can get your Fibonacci tool and you can use the 50% of the OB as your entry 2. Entry 2. There we go. So when we talk about entries in the next 2 videos, this is where you're going to place your orders. You're either going to place your order at the entry number 1 or entry 2. Okay, that is up to you. So generally, we like to have a 5 pip stop loss max, but it's up to you what you feel comfortable using, okay, as your max stop loss. For me, it's 5 pips. So say, for example, if the entry gives me 5 pip stop loss or less, then I always use the entry. If it doesn't, then I always use entry number 2 and use 50%. If you use the 50%, you are less probable to actually trigger the trade, but it does give you a better risk to reward. So just bear that in mind. That's the only reason why you use the 50% of the OB. Ideally, I would use the open if I were you. You get the best, not the best, but you get the higher probabilities for the trade to actually trigger. I don't know why they're all over there. Okay, that's it. Okay, in terms of entries, that's it. You can either place your order here or you're going to place your order at the entry number 2 at the 50%. Now, remember when I said is you can sometimes get liquidity wicks, right? Which have an OB in them. Okay, so say, let me move these slightly this way. And let me draw another candle here. Okay, say that this is your OB, right? Let me get one of these little ones across. There you go. So say this is your OB, right? But then you have a liquidity wick. Instead, you can actually place the order at, you can have entry 1 at the base of the wick, which is here. Or you can have 50% of this wick. So say it's rough, oh gosh, say 50% is roughly there, right? Oh, why did you get that? There we go. Or you can have your entry at the 50% of the wick. Okay, so this is where you can place your orders, either at the base or here. Now, if you do get a liquidity wick, it doesn't mean that you can't use the actual OB itself. You can still use an entry here or 50% should you wish. But in terms of refinement, you can also use this. Now, remember, the more refined you go, the less probability you have of a trade triggering. So try not to over refine it. If you don't need to, say for example, if this gives you a 5 pip stop loss, right, from here to that wick, then use that. Okay, so just so you are in the trade and the trade actually triggers. Okay, but again, it's up to you how big you want your max stop loss. For me, it's 5 pips. Okay, so that's the only thing. So in terms of when we show you the 2 entry types, in terms of risk entries and confirmation entries, this is where you can place your orders. You can place your order at either the open of the OB, the 50%, the open of the wick, being the base of this wick, or the 50% of the wick. That's literally all it is, where you're going to place your orders. In terms of stop loss size, it is down to you and what you feel comfortable as having your max stop loss. Try not to be a hero and try to go for like the smallest stop loss possible, because you don't have to. For me, my minimum stop loss is 2 pips. Sometimes I do 1 pip, but it's very rare now. 2 pips is probably the safest one in terms of spread. Now, when you have a spread issue, generally for a sell, you should put your stop loss above the high of the OB and add your spread. For a buy, you can put it below the low, but in terms of your entry, just add whatever your spread is to the entry. So say if you're looking for a buy, right? So this is for a sell I'm showing you here. Say if you're looking for a buy, that would be your entry 1, that would be entry 2. This would be entry 1 and your entry 2 would be here, right, in this situation. There we go. So if you're looking for a buy, you probably should add a few, like a pip or so, or whatever your spread is to your entry, just to make sure you actually trigger, so spread doesn't let you down. In terms of stop loss, you'll be fine, but for a sell, you do need to add a few pip or a pip or so to your stop loss to cover the spread. But that's the basic entry to where you'll place your orders. So the next 2 videos, they're going to be, so the entry time is going to be split into 2 parts. Okay, so we have risk entries and we have confirmation entries. Confirmation entries are the safest way to trade, and the risk entries are obviously risk entries for their name, they call that for a reason. So in the next video, we're going to talk about risk entries to start off with, and then we're going to talk about confirmation entries in the following video.